10, 9.
You want answers? I want the truth!
Get ready for two guys who can't handle the truth.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
But we can. Dave Palumbo, Chris Aceto. RxMuscle.com presents Heavy Muscle Radio. Watch out!
Welcome to another episode of Heavy Muscle Radio. I'm Dave Palumbo, and I'm joined, as always, by the technician, Chris Aceto, on this June 25th afternoon. And Chris, it was a pretty boring weekend in bodybuilding, I got to tell you, as far as competitions go, because there was really no men's opens or anything like that. We will talk about a couple of pro events that did take place this past weekend, but it was relatively quiet. But in the news section of the bodybuilding world, it was very exciting because there was a lot of hype and hoopla and arguments and debate, and we love that because we eat that stuff up. I guess we should start with the biggest announcement, which was the Olympia. The Olympia people. It's weird. The Olympia people, AMI announced this announcement through the magazine, Muscle and Fitness, or Flex. Or I don't. Actually, they don't.
There is no Flex, so they didn't
Muscle and
announce
Fitness. Rather than do it online, so all I saw all over online were these screenshots. Actually, you sent me the same thing. It was like someone took a picture with their cell phone of the magazine. Now, to find someone who actually had a magazine to take the screenshot was crazy. It's weird that they didn't announce it on their website or their social media.
They don't have a website, do they?
No, they have a website. Flex has a website, and so does Muscle Fitness. And I'm sure, and they have social media pages. I don't know why no one announced it, but the announcement was that they were going to be implementing something, I guess, to kind of usher in the social media world into the Mr. Olympia competition. They were going to allow the audience to, well, not even just the audience, but the fans all over the world to vote on who they think Mr. Olympia should be at the Mr. Olympia competition. They also announced that after the Saturday or Friday night prejudging, they were going to put the scores up. So you actually know who was in the lead by how many points, which I think was kind of cool. I think they did that. They've tried it a couple times in the past. They always get rid of it, but I don't know. I guess they feel they're going to do that, and then they're going to allow the I don't know how they're going to do it, if they're going to be via text or via some kind of website where you vote, but you're going to be able to cast your vote, and evidently, from what, at least the way I interpret it is, and I could be wrong, the entire world's vote, when they tally it up, will count as like one judge or something like that. And then for the ultimate scoring of the Olympia, and then they're also going to have a People's Champ Olympia. So let's say the people pick, let's say Phil wins and the people pick Rami, then Rami would be the People's Champion. They didn't mention anything about giving the People's Champion any kind of certain special prize or any money or anything like that, but I guess it's kind of like that challenge round they used to have, back in the day when Gustavo Bedell beat Ronnie Coleman at his best. And then they got rid of it after that. Then when they realized that the experiment was a failure, they got rid of it. But it's interesting in that I think it will stimulate interest by the fans. But the truth is, and I did a rant on this. It's up on the site if people want to take a look at it. It's not going to change the scoring of the Olympia. And people say, what do you mean? Everyone's like saying, oh, this could change the scope. Everyone's they're responding. All the social media, experts out there and all the people who have these big YouTube channels. Well, they're going to respond
to anything.
Well, they're saying, no, they're acting like the powers that be are succumbing to the public demand that they want their input. Yeah, it's a joke because if, let's say they give the public, one vote on the Olympic, they're like one judge sitting on that panel, it's going to get thrown out anyway because they throw out the two highs and the two low scores, right, of every in every contest. Yeah. So if they have 11 Olympia judges and the Court of Public Appeal is the 12th judge or whatever, if you want to, or the 11th judge, however they want to do it, invariably, if it doesn't match up with what the other people are saying, it's going to get thrown down the toilet bowl because it'll be probably one of the low or high scores, of each competitor. So it really won't have any bearing on anything other than to generate some human interest. And there will be a People's Champ, like I said, which won't really matter because, let's say last year Phil won, but Rami was the People's Champ. 10 years from now, you think anyone's going to remember that Rami won the People's Champ?
Well, it's just...
Plus, there's no money. I mean, Phil Heath's going to still collect the $400,000 unless they're going to start divvying out prize money to People's Champs, in which case I don't think the competitors are going to be very happy about that.
Yeah, it's I don't think it's a good idea.
Now, why don't you think it's a good idea? I think it's a great idea, even though I think it's not going to change anything. But
Well, I mean, it's kind of like it reminds me of like the first thing I think of is like Hillary Clinton winning 3 million more votes than Trump on the popular vote, but not winning the election.
right, because of the
I mean, you can compare and contrast with
electoral
that.
vote. Yeah, the electoral
you
vote system.
Or the second thing I think of immediately is why not have a People's Classic champion?
Well, that's what I said. You should just do all the classes, right?
Well, why not? I mean, if you are entrusting the public to cast a vote to who's the best bodybuilder there, I mean, think of it. We handicap a show here, and we go by pictures, and a lot of times they say, "But I wasn't there."
Right. I always say that. Yeah.
Because I don't want necessarily to insult the winner if I disagree with the winner or the judges.
Right.
And here you can watch a video on your computer screen and supposedly, pick the best bodybuilder up there. I'll give you Dillette and Rule would have won multiple People's Champions choices, and Kai Green would have won multiple, and Lee Priest would have won multiple Mr. Olympia, People's Champion Award.
Well, here's a better idea. Why don't they just, since a show is best judged in person, right? Why don't they pick all the court of public morons out there could pick their champions? They could pick their 11 best guys, all the Louis Marcos and
I was just going to say,
Nick from Strength and Power,
yeah.
and all these guys that they think are experts out there. And no disrespect to them, I'm just saying these are the guys that are supposedly parroting public opinion, according to the people, and they can fly them to the Olympia and they can have their own judging panel. They'll be on the side. And they can judge the people's champion, those guys, and then the real judges can judge the Mr. Olympia, and then this way it's really judged, so that people can't, because otherwise it becomes just a popularity contest if it's at home. I mean, you don't even have to watch the show and you can cast a vote, right? I mean,
Dave,
it's like American Idol,
The fact of the matter is, when you go to the Olympia, even the people at the Olympia, when you're 40 rows back, it's hard to tell sometimes.
You can't see anything. You cannot see anything from 40 rows back.
Who is the best bodybuilder? So even the audience can get confused. And a lot of times I've been at shows when people say, "What do you think?" I said, "Well, I thought I disagreed with the results, but I was 55 rows back, so just put an asterisk next to my opinion."
It's true. Unless you're sitting by the judges.
Listen, I would disagree openly sometimes with judging, and sometimes I'm too biased. If I'm helping someone in the show. But I would still rather have the judges who judge the Olympia judge the Olympia.
Of course, it makes
than vote the public judge the Olympia.
I agree. You know what? Also, we have good seats usually. We have decent seats in the press row, and I have to admit, I watch the show on the big screen in the auditorium. I don't watch it directly on stage because I can't really see detail that well. So I'm essentially watching it on TV too, even when I'm there, and. Because I just don't see it. I'm not close enough. Even the judges are just barely close enough. Don't you think?
Yeah, I think
they're far back. They're pretty far back.
The judges could be actually closer.
Yeah, they're very far back, and they have to be that far back because the stage is so high that if they were sitting closer, they'd be looking up at the guys rather than at the guys.
Well, why don't they just put the judges closer but elevate them?
Yeah, that would be good.
So they're looking straight on, and they're like 18 feet.
Right.
Back. I mean, it's funny. You know what? Everyone, you go to the New York Pro and you go on Instagram or whatever, and you see, the top 12 guys in the New York Pro making the trek out to Bev's gym and posing for Steve, but he's only 7 feet from you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Look,
at an Olympia, he's going to be 50 feet from you.
Yeah. True. When I went to WWE WrestleMania one year, Triple H got me tickets, and he wanted to get me the best tickets he could, so he got me on the floor tickets. But the on the floor tickets were not ringside; they were really far back. And to be honest with you, I would have rather been in the stands because I was having to look over a million people standing up because these wrestling fans stand up, and I couldn't see anything. So when you have these mega events like this, where it's not an intimate theater, it's hard to see, when you're there. Sometimes, only the people in the very, very front really are getting a true vision of what's going on, and that's, unfortunate. But, if you want to really make it a social media, just don't even have judges. Just let
there's
just
only
vote
one loser.
American Idol.
Only
does
one
that.
person comes out a loser here.
Who?
Phil.
Well, because he's not liked, yeah, so they won't.
No, I mean, he's not necessarily the most popular.
No, he's not. He's probably the least popular Mr. Olympia.
Part of it would be a popularity contest.
Sure.
And, you know, Phil, let's say Phil last year, just go back 1 year. Phil wins last year but loses the popular vote, and there's an asterisk. It's like, it almost gives credibility to, well, he really shouldn't have won.
Yeah. Well, no one says that about Ronnie when he lost that stupid challenge round that year. I don't even. Do you remember what year that was?
He lost it 2 years in a row to Gustavo.
Was it like 02 or 01
It
and
was
02?
04 and 05.
04 and 05, okay. Yeah, that was pretty
And Jay won in 06, thank God, because Gustavo probably would have beaten him in the challenge round, too.
Gustavo was the king of the challenge round. He knew all the poses to hit. He strategically figured out which poses he was better than Ronnie in and just challenged him in that, you know. Ronnie couldn't hit a side tricep, and he probably should have won the side tricep. He just didn't know how to hit the pose, Ronnie.
Yeah, well, he didn't really know a front lat spread either his whole career. Right?
You're right. Speaking of front lat spreads, have you ever seen Arnold hit a front lat spread?
Yeah, it's a front lat spread.
It wasn't that good, though. It's front lat spread.
No.
I saw on YouTube, they had a Entertainment Tonight did like an on the set like preview of that new movie Bigger, you know, about the Joe Eater story.
Oh yeah.
And they showed the scene where Colin Van Moger playing Arnold Schwarzenegger beats Sergio, played by Sergio Oliva Jr., his son, on stage, and it was pretty cool. You know, they showed they had reenacted the whole Mr. Olympia contest. And
who won the popular vote that year?
It wasn't Sergio, that's for sure. And so, I think it's a good idea. Like I said, I wonder if they're going to give some money to these guys, and if they do give some money, and they take it away from Phil's $400,000 that he's been winning every year, I'm sure he's going to be damn pissed. And I think all the bodybuilders will be pissed, except for the person who wins, probably the popular vote, because they don't want to be judged by the people at home. Because now, like you said, it becomes a popularity contest, and it like takes the fun out of it. I saw Aaron had posted this thing like on his social media with the article and the picture, the same screenshot everyone's been putting on that.
Sure.
And he said, "Oh, this is going to change everything," now, which it's not going to change anything. It will not change the outcome of the Olympia. I can guarantee you that. And Kai wrote, I guess, you know him. Kai works with him or whatever. He does the product line with Kai. And Kai wrote, "Ooh," you know, like as if like now maybe I should try this or something like that.
Well, I said the first thing I thought of was the popular vote. The second was, why don't they do let the audience or people at home judge also the classic of the bikini, right? I mean, can you imagine if people could vote for the bikini winner?
I think it would probably be more accurate if the.
No, I don't think it'd be any accurate.
No,
just
I think
go for
the hottest girl would win. Isn't that what's supposed to
Yeah,
win?
yeah, the hottest girl would win, period. The one with probably more body fat than what's up there, that's for damn sure.
I think that's the only valid...
And then the fourth thing I thought of was Kai Green. Because Kai could come and step out on stage and just, make one of his Kai faces to get the audience riled up, and that would be it. They'd go nuts.
Yeah, he's got the most followers, that's for sure.
He should compete anyway. I know he doesn't want to hear that, but he should compete anyway.
Aaron said he looked good. He saw him recently. He said he was freaky looking.
What, do you think he's small or something? I mean, of course he looks good.
He's huge. But I'm saying the bikini, voting by audience, or whatever, fan favorite for the bikini might be the most valid way to vote, to judge that Olympia.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, who cares? I mean, not that I'm discrediting because I work with a lot of bikini competitors, but think about it. I mean, there should be a hot factor in there. Maybe make that 50% of their score. Let the people should just
90% of it, for God's sakes. I mean, if it by definition, a bikini is the hottest person in the bikini.
Right. I agree.
I mean, what else are you judging? Like low body fat or something? Yeah. Or
I'll tell you what. I saw a bikini, some results from a bikini show this past weekend, and these women are looking shredded.
I told you.
Shredded.
Told you a long time ago. I remember you stuck a microphone in my face once, and I said, I just go with like the best looking girl with the best body, and I wouldn't consider anything else. So don't ask me, because that's how I would imagine that it should be judged.
Greater Gulf States, where Marsha Gunkov's won, and my species nutrition athlete Natasha Coleman was second, and Chi Chi from Dallas was third. they look like they could do figure. I mean, they're
that's
shredded.
my point. My point to
they look great.
that
I
is
like that.
If you discount body fat, in other words, if you go for like leanness, then the only way to get better is to get even leaner, and leaner and leaner and leaner until you get to the point where you have to reboot it and say, you know what?
They'll have to reboot it soon because
the bikini winner is like, in my mind, like the Tropicana girl.
Right. I remember.
They always had those contests.
Do you remember when Natalia Mello?
Yes.
They were telling us she was too hard. Her abs were too hard. She had no hardness anywhere else on her body. She was perfect. She just had ripped abs. She just has like a good physique, which shows athleticism, right? Oh, your abs are too hard. And they gave it to like Nicole Negroni, who was like 16 years old or something like that. Now it's like, now Natalia would be too soft, probably. They're like, oh, your glutes are not hard enough now. So, the bikini is the most erratic, I think, judged division out there. It's very hard to decide because there's no distinguishing factors, that you can say, oh, well, she's this or she's that. It's kind of like it changes with the way the sea rolls up and back when the tides come in and out. It changes all the time. And tomorrow they can get to the Olympia and say, you know what, I think we went too far with this. Let's completely change it the way we judge. And meanwhile, everyone's coming in thinking that they're judging conditioning, and then they come in and everything. Oh, you're too hard. But you judged every show this year like this. Well, sorry, we changed our mind. But we'll see what happens. It's interesting. Look, I'll give Robin Chang one thing. He always finds a way to like stir up a little interest, before the show. They gave Flex Wheeler the invite last year. The year before that, it was Levroni. This year they got Phil going for number 8, and they're trying to throw a little monkey wrench in the thing, so to speak. But I don't believe it will affect anything one single bit. First of all, you think these judges are going to allow the people's choice to affect anything that they do up there? No way. No way. It's window dressing. They're waving like they're waving a $1,000 bill in the air, but no one's getting it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get it.
It's to satisfy the crowd. You know how they said it? Remember, I don't know if you saw the movie Gladiator.
No, of course I didn't see it. I got kids, dude.
Russell Crowe?
I do radio shows at 3 a.m. and have kids going to camps.
Chris, it was before your kids were even born. It was like 15 years ago.
Well, I had something going on then too.
Anyway, Russell Crowe plays the Gladiator, and the guy tells him, he goes, "You win the crowd, you won." And that's you've defeated the emperor, because the crowd, the public opinion, the court of public opinion is the most important thing, and so they're trying to quell the public opinion by having you guys have a say in the matter. This way no one's going to criticize the outcome, because hey, we gave you guys a voice, right?
Yeah. That sounds like a city council meeting when they say, "Come on in, you want to talk about landlord issues?" And I go in and I say, "This meeting is a sham."
Yeah, a sham of a half sham. Remember Woody Allen? It was a sham of a half sham of a quadruple sham.
What movie was that from?
Wasn't it like Bananas or something like that? He was like, remember he was playing the dictator. He went there by accident, and they thought he was like the dictator of the country. They thought he was the head of the rebellion. Remember the Banana Republic?
Yes.
And
I do see some movies.
Yeah, I see.
I think I've seen just about all Woody Allen movies.
That's a classic. That's why. All right. Speaking of complaints at City Hall, I got to play the latest message from your God damn it, Aceto. You clear that tenant.
Go ahead.
I got to do it so that I have to make sure that I don't get static, because for some reason, whenever I put my phone next to the microphone, I get static. All right, let's play this thing here. Hold on.
Chris, Laura. Look at guy downstairs just came up. Bathroom's leaking. Okay, it's not dripping anymore. It's running. But I gotta shut my water off. I mean, why are you being such a dick? I mean, in plain English, why are you being such a dick? The kitchen's, the whole counter fills up with fucking water. I mean, goddamn, you've known about this for a fucking year. Now, this shit's getting old. Not to mention all the bullshit that you never did. I mean, give it a break. I mean, send Jim over a half-ass job's better than no job at all, I guess. I don't know what else to tell you. I'm tired of wasting my breath with you. But you're being a real dickhead. You have a good one.
God damn it, you freaking dickhead.
Too much.
And the funny thing is, you know, you got your father who's a pain in the ass, right? He's in the assisted living like my dad is. You think, all right, you know what? At least he's under control. Now you got another guy who's acting like your father and telling you're a moron and you don't do your job right.
What I say, it sounds like he makes it sound like he's living in a shanty town.
Yeah, nice. And
what did you say? Your
favorite
father's
expression, shanty town. The funny thing is that all this guy does is complain. And then when you try to throw him out and kick him out and he got all fucking defensive and he's like apologizing to you.
Yeah, I said that. There's
for those people who don't know, this is the bedbug guy. This is the guy.
Yeah, well, I'm sure I have a.
What's his problem now? He thinks the water's dripping. What's I don't know what his problem is.
He has a leak on. Last I knew, he had a leak on his kitchen faucet. You want to know how often it leaks?
What?
Like once every 6 hours, a drop bubbles up. I'm dead serious.
Oh my god!
And I can't change it on him because it will be the principle. If he can if he can nag someone to death.
Did you buy him a new couch already?
Yeah, he's sitting on a $1,200 sofa, leather sofa.
Holy
I bought
mackerel.
it maybe 5 years ago for him.
Wow, that's nice. Did you do that just because you wanted to be a nice guy, or what?
No? Because 5 years ago, when he really did have bed bugs.
Oh, okay.
We like bombed the couch to the point that it was like probably toxic, for God's sakes, with chemicals. So I felt bad for him, and I said, "Go pick out a couch." I figured he'd go pick something out, right?
Yeah.
$298, $340. He picked out something $1,200. So.
And you agreed?
I know the guy from the furniture store. No, I know the guy from the furniture store, and I didn't know the price, so he brought it home. Or they had it delivered, and then they sent me the bill, and I almost had a heart attack.
Oh my god! So he's got a nicer couch probably than you have, right?
He does. Dave, okay, I'm going to send you a picture of my ripped up couch. I'm dead serious. I'm going to send it.
I know you. You probably been using the same couch since when you were.
I sent you a picture of my spatula, right? I went out and bought a spatula. I had a broken spatula for like 5 years.
Yeah, funny.
Couldn't even flip an egg.
This guy is too. You should tell him. You know what? I think what's happening is that the bed bugs are back, and that's why they're eating through the lining of the sink, and that's why it's dripping.
Well, the problem is with the bed bugs is he.
God damn it, Aceto! Stop acting like a dick.
He itches all the time. And he thinks because 5 years later that he must have bed bugs. And I went in with him once, with the exterminator. I went into the place, and that's when the exterminator said, "Do you know how many times you blink a day?"
Yeah.
If you were aware that someone said, Chris, if you blink,
you have bed bugs.
it's going to take, every time you blink, it's going to take 5 minutes off your life. You'd try to fight blinking all day long. You're not aware of how often you blink, just like you're not aware of how many times you itch yourself in a day.
I'm sure. No, you're right. Because if you have any kind of skin issue ever, you'll think you're itch, or you have a bug's bite, but you get like bug bites outside. You think they're all over your body after a while.
So maybe we can do we could broadcast live from his apartment one day.
We definitely should get him on. I think we're definitely missing out by not having him on the radio. Because,
no, he'd be a ham. He'd say,
he'd be like our best guy.
I
love it. I treat this guy like my son. I'm a little hard on him once in a while, but Chris, man, you're always there for me. You got the apartment there. I appreciate it. I'll be like, you want me to play some of the messages that you left this guy? We've heard them all already, by the way. It's Mr. Whatever your name is.
A montage. We have a montage of them.
So someone just emailed me recently that you came in. Where did they see you? Who works out that would have emailed me that sees you? Was it the cleaners guy?
The guy, Dave. The guy where tenants who have bed bugs take their clothes to have the stuff washed.
Oh yeah, it's the cleaners guy who
the dry cleaner.
Yeah. He asked me a question or something like that.
I'm sure he's listening to the show tonight.
Oh yeah. He's like, oh, by the way, I'm the guy Chris always talks about on the radio show from the dry cleaner store. I'm like, oh, nice to meet you, man. It was great. You were asking me earlier.
He took the guru class, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, he took the guru. That's right. I had a block against why he emailed me. I think it was about supplements.
I mean, I dry clean my stuff there. It's called Beal's Dry Cleaning.
Now you should go there. I'm sure you'd probably get great rates there. I'd be bringing all my clothes there.
I don't get a discount. One day I walked in there and he had a Species shirt on.
Yeah, he probably
That's
got it. From the
he had
course.
taken. I think he got it when he took the Guru
course,
class.
Yeah. He was a good guy actually.
He asked me a lot about Tony Atlas because he sees Tony all the time.
Yeah, you got to get his number for me. So
You got to get Tony on the show, dude.
Absolutely. I want to.
He'll give you all the Arnold stories and all the Vince McMahon stories.
That's great. Yeah, I definitely want to get him on. It'll be a good interview. We were talking about on Iron Rage the other day, Jeep Swenson. I wanted to get your opinion on him because you were in the Venice, living in that in Venice, California.
Yeah, what was he,
during that
400
time
pounds or something? That was his hit, right?
period. It was 420, I think, 430, something like that. But
20-inch waist.
did you used
Kidding.
to see him at the gym? I mean, right?
I'd see him in, yeah. He was a freaky, freak.
Did you ever have any conversations with him?
No, never, no.
Because he's one of the urban legend guys that no one really realized that. I mean, this guy might have been the biggest guy of all time. in
No,
the
he was
bodybuilding.
gigantic.
Someone told me
What-
Trevor Smith was bigger, but I think Trevor had more legs. Jeep's was all upper body, which made him look 10 times bigger than anyone else.
No. But did he look good? I thought he just had like a big waist and flat
Oh,
pecs.
yeah, he was like a strongman looking guy, but he was huge. He was huge. I said it on the Iron Rage. Michael Zampano, who co-wrote the Underground Steroid Handbook with Dan DeShane, he used to tell me that he was friends with Jeep, and Jeep was toward the end of his life somehow got hooked on painkillers. He was taking like 50 Percocets at a time. 50. Can you imagine that?
No, of course. I mean, that's addiction.
Yeah, but
I mean,
50. I mean,
I
you
can't
would
imagine
kill
it,
you or
but
me.
of course you can. At the same, on the other side of the coin is, addiction is addiction.
Yeah.
3 won't work, take 10.
Yep.
10 won't work, take 20.
Most people would be dead from taking 10 of them, and this guy was taking 50, a couple times a day. Expensive habit, too. I wonder, what was the Mayo team? The Mayo was taking a lot of those before he switched to heroin. I know he was hooked on a lot of them.
Yeah, he was hooked on perks. How did he get hooked on perks? I forgot.
Tore his calf right before the Nationals.
You got it.
94.
You just took the words right out of my mouth. He tore his calf. That's right. He legitimately tore his calf, and he legitimately got hooked. You know what I mean? It's not like he went out and said, "Hey, John Smith in the gym, you got any perks?"
He was very naive, actually, because I remember I had seen him at a
Yes.
seminar, and he's like, "Oh man, these things I tried, they're great." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Oh," and he showed me the bottle, and they were I'm like, "Those are Percocets." Obviously, I was from my med school background at the time. I knew what they were, and I said, "They're pain meds. They're narcotic pain meds." He's like, "Oh, they're good." I said, "Well, there are I said they're addicting. He's like, "Yeah. I got this calf. I tore it. I got nationals in 6 weeks." I said, "Now you'll be fine. You don't look like you don't look like your calf is damaged to me." I said, "You got enough calf there for 10 people." I said. Little did I know he would never go off those things. The weird thing is that he went off him when he was in prison for 2 years, when he fired that gun into the air, and you would think he would have stopped. That would have been a good way for him to clean out and reevaluate. But he must have gotten out and gone right back on the stuff,
Yeah. Maybe he got him in prison. You never know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's probably pretty hard to do that. I mean, you can get anything in prison if you have enough money, I guess, but it's not.
Yeah, but he's kind of like a celebrity. You know what I mean? Paul DeMeo at the time, celebrity.
Sure.
Guards lift weights.
Right. Who knows? You might be right.
I think Trevor when he came out of prison, Trevor kind of helped him get on his feet.
Trevor Smith, yeah, he did. I remember Paul was at his booth, I think at the Olympia.
You're right. See, is it ridiculous, Dave? I saw Paul at that booth.
Me too.
Bizarre.
Yeah, I saw him and I was like, "Oh, you're back. Oh, great."
Yeah.
But I don't think he ever really. He was big. He was big again, but he didn't have that eye of the tiger anymore. It's like someone took the air out of him,
Yeah. Well, it's all about, even though Cedric doesn't believe in momentum, it's about momentum. When you training, you have tunnel vision. When you break it, sometimes it's hard to, rekindle it.
It's mental. We talked about this before, but mental illness is a tough one.
Oh, it's insane.
He obviously was
No
was a
pun
depressed
intended.
guy. A lot of people, will medicate themselves from depression with bodybuilding. In other words, going to the gym, it's like they gives them a high. Hey, I can see my physique changing. It's something to look forward to. And then if something goes wrong with their relationship, or they get injured, or they go to jail, and they can't continue to make progress with their body, then it's like they feel like they don't even want to live anymore. And that's why it's always important to have more than one, thing that really gets you off on life, Because
yeah, but it's
look at Nasser. Look, as smart and as intelligent as Nasser El-Somebody was, deep down, the only thing he really loved was bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And when he couldn't do it anymore and he couldn't place anymore, he didn't really want to live anymore. I believe that we all choose our entrance and exit from this world. We're not. You don't just say, "Oh, I'm going to leave tomorrow." But I think once you lose the desire to live anymore, you find a way out. So to speak.
Well, you got to have something that gets you up in the morning that you can't wait to get up for.
Your thoughts create your reality, and if your thoughts say, "I don't want to be here anymore," then the world finds a way to give you your exit, so to speak. And that's just the way it is. Now that's also not explaining, freak accidents and stuff like that. I'm talking about people who just like kind of fade away. Like all of a sudden, hey, what happened today? Oh, kidney disease died.
Yeah.
Like, really? Like that was like 6 months ago. And then meanwhile, then you have other guys that like get, serious cancer and they don't really want to leave and they somehow miraculously are cured. I mean, look at you. You were on your deathbed and you came back from it and because you had a reason to live. So, like I said, it's a very weird thing. Your thoughts create your reality thing because it's not an instantaneous thing. It's not like, oh, I want to do this and boom, all of a sudden it happens. You have to kind of put the thought in, think about it, immerse yourself in it, never doubt yourself. You have to
obsess about it.
Yeah, and then you succeed at it. That's how it, then it happens for you. That's just how it works. But it seems like the older you get, the faster you can make things happen. Because I think that you start to believe in yourself after a while, and I think. It's really doubt that kind of stops us from achieving what we really want because you can really want something really bad, but if you just think you're not worthy, it's like you never get it, I think my dad was a super talented writer. I think he didn't really believe in it, even though he would outwardly sound like he believed in himself and brag about himself and all this stuff. I think he had a lot of self-doubt about what he did, not being good enough, and that just came from that poverty, background, where everyone told everyone's father told them, "You're losers, you go get a real job, you can't do something outside the box,
Yeah, writing, right? Writing would be like considered,
wasting time,
heresy.
Yeah.
Go
lay
do
brick.
something with your
lay
life.
brick.
Yeah,
like your father.
I was gonna say, not become a doctor. Go lay brick. Go build highways.
Yeah, that's what my grandfather did. He was a top level bricklayer, and that's he probably felt that was a real job, with you're creating something and you're getting paid for it. It's not this. It's not YouTube, right, or social media. Imagine that. Imagine our parents, like they don't even understand social media. But imagine, you tell your grandparents, "I'm going to be like a YouTuber." I'm going to sit home and play video games and videotape myself playing video games, and I'm going to make a living from this.
I'm going to be like the Boston Lloyd and troll people and give funny commentary for a living of other bodybuilders.
Yeah, and people are making good money on it. So who gets the last laugh? That's why I say do what you love. Don't worry about what people think. Don't worry about making money. The money will come somehow. I heard that, speaking of someone who's trying to make a big name for himself on social media, I hear Nick Trigili has been bad-mouthing you. Is that true?
Well, I heard it. Someone emailed it to me, and I emailed back, I can't even be bothered. I figured you were on the email.
No, I think you forgot to CC me.
He said something. I said, I can't even be bothered because I'm not bothered.
they're trying to which we're probably just
rope-a-dope.
Yeah, drum up some controversy.
So there we just mentioned.
Speaking of controversy, Jeremy Buendia got caught. He did a live stream interview with someone, and in the interview he said that bodybuilding was dying 8 years ago, and then men's physique came around, and it saved the sport. And, I'm the reigning Mr. Olympia 4 times, and if it wasn't for men's physique and bikini, there would be no bodybuilding. Bodybuilding would have died a long time ago, and so people took offense to that statement. Dexter Jackson did a crazy Instagram story on it, just completely trashing him, and then Boston Lloyd wrote some crazy stuff on him. So I figured, what? I can't get Dexter on the show because I can't believe there's still exclusive contracts because there's no magazines anymore, but they're out there. So I got Boston on the show. And Boston, I guess, used to compete against Jeremy in the amateur level and beat him several times. And he said, he basically said that Jeremy was a horrendous bodybuilder, and that's why he went into men's physique. Obviously, Jeremy has a really good physique, so it is what it is. But I don't think necessarily bodybuilding needed saving. I think what men's physique and bikini did, and I think Jeremy should have maybe more clearly stated this, is bring more interest into the sport in the sense that people who were never have gotten involved obviously found that they had a category now that they could probably do something in and feel good about themselves and maybe place well in. And it's as far as promoters go, they brought a tremendous amount of money into this sport because now you have thousands of people competing at these shows that you never had before. You have more opportunities for coaches to make money because everyone needs a coach because all these new people don't know what they're doing. Supplement companies can sell more supplements now. So, I guess in a sense it has helped the sport, but it certainly didn't save bodybuilding. What's your take on it?
I think that I think Instagram is more responsible, and Facebook is more responsible for the growth of the sport than anything else. Just those are outlets that weren't there, participatory outlets, media outlets that were not there 8 years ago.
Right, but how is that bringing more people into this competing? Don't you think it was the divisions that were created to enable these social media, starlets who?
Well, it didn't save nothing. I mean, bodybuilding was not dying 8 years ago. What year was 8 years ago? 2010. Yeah. Jay Cutler was Mr. Olympia. Phil was second. And who was third? Branch or Kai or Dexter's somebody. Still, and they were still giving away $250,000 first prize. It was still selling out the Orleans Arena. The idea that professional bodybuilding was dying 8 years ago is just folly.
I agree.
I mean, and to say that someone was saving, how do you contextualize that classic bodybuilding or in this case, board shorts division saved? Did it save the Mr. Olympia competition?
No.
Was it responsible for increasing the prize money from $250,000 to $400,000 for first prize?
No. Matter of fact, you would think that if they did save it, they would have given all the money to those guys, right? But they're still making nothing.
That's why I brought up the point of the money.
Dexter said these guys are still making nothing, and Mr. Olympia is still making $400,000. More than that, more than they were making years ago.
There's say what you want about men's professional bodybuilding. When you go to the Olympia, the electricity revolves around the first call out of the men's open bodybuilding show.
Sure.
The electricity is not comparable in the 212. The electricity is like a light bulb in the board short division. Yeah. It's not to say the guys don't have killer physiques, and it's not to take away the fact that I'm sure they train as hard as some of the guys in the Mr. Olympia and are as dedicated to their craft as the guys in the Mr. Olympia, but to put a spin on it that they are saving the sport somehow is ludicrous.
Yeah, I agree.
And the sport has a history of, if you look back at the sport, there's a tradition there. There's an incredible exclusivity there. I mean, Phil's got 7. There's only a few people who won it over the years.
Sure. And you can remember all those guys, but I don't think I could remember all the other divisions winners. Can you?
He either misspoke, right, or he's a little bit cuckoo.
I think they took what he said a little bit out of context because he was trying to just say that that it was men's physique, bikini were responsible for the growth of the sport. That's what he should have said. He should have said it should never have used the term
sport. The growth of what sport?
Of our industry, not the sport of our industry.
So that is different than saying that it saved bodybuilding or saying that it
I think, and
was
right. I'm putting words in his mouth, but I think he was referring to bodybuilding as the sport itself, not necessarily open bodybuilding. Because if he was referring to open men's bodybuilding, he's a moron, obviously. But I think that he just didn't articulate what he said correctly, because the guy's not a moron. He might be a little arrogant or whatever some people think he is, but he's not a moron. He's not a dummy. So it is what it is. It was taken out of context. I think that. But
I mean, if it's meant to, I would agree. If it was meant to be said that the new divisions have helped the quote industry end quote blossom, expand
right.
and include people who were not included before, then he's right. But it's kind of as ludicrous to say, like, well, the marathon section of the Arnold Classic in Ohio, the equestrian division of the Arnold Classic Ohio, the the cheerleading division which they have of the Arnold Classic Ohio is responsible for blah 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 blah. You got to keep in mind that all of that was built off the backs of bodybuilding.
Sure, and you know what the truth is,
it should be paying homage actually to Dexter Jackson.
Yeah. But the
really?
truth,
because if there was no men's bodybuilding to start with, there'd be no Arnold Classic, there'd be no Olympia anyway.
Right. But the truth is that the classic physique and men's physique division, even the 212, if anything, has cannibalized the open division. It might have hurt it
that.
Because it's taking away quality. Lee Priest competed in the men's open bodybuilding, Mr. Olympia. So did Sean Ray. Nowadays, they would have been 212 guys.
Yeah.
Maybe Sean would have been a classic guy. Who knows? So, if anything, they're hurting the men's open bodybuilding in that sense, even if they're bringing more money into the sport because there's more people participating. So, I always try to find the good in everything. I try to find the good in everyone. I assume everyone is really trying to say good. But I might be wrong. He might actually have meant that I say bodybuilding. I don't know. He might actually think that. I don't know. I reached out to him, but he never got back to me.
Yeah. The flip side to that is there's absolutely positively zero negative with men's physique, classic bodybuilding, bikini. It's all bridges to bring in more people in.
Sure.
But the flip side to that is I don't know if people are making more money anyway. I mean, if you looked at probably the earnings power of the top 10 guys in the Mr. Olympia, I bet it's not as high as it was 7 years ago. So to that point, I don't know, maybe he has a point.
Well, I'm
people
sure
are making less money.
If there wasn't a men's physique division, Jeremy Buendia wouldn't be Mr. Olympia 4 times, and he wouldn't be making the money he's making. That is absolutely for sure. So it definitely created opportunities for guys who could never look like the men's open guys to make a living for themselves.
Dave, at the end of the day, the point is, I don't like when guys in the men's open shit on, like, classic division, which I don't think many people do, or make fun of the men's physique division because they're different divisions. Mm-hmm. And everyone has their strengths for each division. Clearly, Jeremy Buendia would get smoked in the 212, right? And he'd get smoked in the classic. But he's tremendous in the division in which he keeps winning in.
Right.
So, good for him. There's a division for him. Mm-hmm. But to, criticize another division, which was paved the road for your division, is wrong, I think. It doesn't do any help to anything in the industry. And for people who are, Phil has made some disparaging shots about other divisions, and I think it's beneath him. I don't even think he should address it. He should be addressing, men's bodybuilding.
All I know is if
it's his right, of course, to make disparaging shots, but it doesn't help anyone really.
Well, Phil went crazy on Louis Marco this year. Imagine what he's going to do if he doesn't win if the People's Choice don't select him.
Oh, can't you hear Louis Marco now, like, saying this is the death knell for Phil?
Of course, they're all saying, all the guys that are like all these social media guys. You see, they responded to we put the pressure on them.
Phil is the epitome of having to be in row 1 through 30.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if you 50 rows back, he looks like narrow. If you're 50 rows back, he doesn't look like the biggest on stage. Maybe his back looks like the densest, but it doesn't look like the biggest from 50 rows back. His legs look terrible 50 rows back. You know, he doesn't look like the biggest guy. It looks like he's getting dwarfed by like Dennis Wolf when Dennis Wolf was big, or he looks like he's getting dwarfed by, or he's going to lose to Rami and Rolly. But when you're up, 15 rows back, it goes back to, that's why diamond people look at diamonds under a, little special thing to look through. They don't look, 6 feet back at the diamond and say which one's the best, or even, 12 inches back. They look directly at it.
Right. No, you're right.
Because you want to look at the detail and the sharpness and the clarity. It's the same exact thing with bodybuilding. You want to see the sharpness, the detail, the clarity in the lines. You can't see that from a computer.
It'll be interesting to see what happens, this year. I love controversy, because otherwise it gets so boring. We've got to Olympias that were just boring. At least drumming up some excitement is good. Like I said, I completely believe it will not affect anything in terms of placings, but everyone on social media will believe that it is. I hear it now. They're all talking. Everyone had to do a response video on that thing, and every person who I've listened to has, aside from me, has said essentially the same thing. They answered. We said we have to now. Now the people will have a voice.
Well, maybe they're right. Maybe, who made the rule? Maybe you got to ask the person who made the rule. Why did you make that rule?
Well, I'll call Jim Mannion up. I'll ask him.
Was it Jim? Was it David Pecker? Was it Robin? Was it a collaboration?
Jim is, since he's the president, has to approve the rule. Has to approve the thing. But it's like when they approved the Arnold, to Arnold. Oh yeah, we'll count the routine round, and it did have an influence on the scoring, but it doesn't. It seems to have gone away now. The first year they did it had some bearing on it, but not this year. And they're not even saying it's going to have they're not giving it a significant percentage. They're not saying, well, the people's voice will count for a third of the score. That's not happening.
Yeah. How do you tally all that? What if Arnold has it? You got to tally that. God, I don't even know who places. You got to take into consideration the routine, what the fans at home think, what the judges. If this was like the Arnold Classic,
if you want to make it, an impressive type of judging change, put Arnold Schwarzenegger on the judging panel. How about that?
Yeah.
Put Franco Palumbo.
Put Samir. Put Samir.
Well, that's ironically, when they did that challenge round years ago,
they had former
Mr. Olympias judged it, and they all didn't like Ronnie.
Yeah, it's true. You know what? Because they wanted to see more classic. They didn't. Some of the criticism was that the bigger physiques, Jay and Ronnie, were getting beat in the classic by Gustavo because they didn't, quote, appreciate the big overwhelming physiques.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, even though Dorian was a big overwhelming physique.
Well, I don't know if did Dorian judge the...
He did. He did. He judged.
I wonder who he had winning.
It probably wasn't Ronnie. But he did say that he was pretty impressed with Ronnie when I interviewed him. So he said his jaw hit the ground when he saw him. So, because, everyone thought Dorian would be the biggest guy of all time ever. And then all of a sudden Ronnie comes right after him. I mean, because no one saw Ronnie coming.
Let's see your best Dorian impersonation. You got one?
I don't. Dorian's so dry. He's got the dry, British accent. I can't do it. There's nothing really to capture, that's distinguishing about him that I could pull out. You could probably do a good one. You're good with the Miloses. Milos has got the very very
yeah. With the Dorian, he's hard to do. He's hard to do because
I don't do British accents well. That's my problem. If I had a British accent or I could do an Australian accent, I could probably do Dorian, but I don't really do it. I have to work on my accents a little bit. I haven't really. I'd love to do a Nathan D'Asher impression because he's got the craziest British accent of all time. No one's got I don't understand a word he says when I interview him. You know how sometimes you interview guys that are Russian, German. I'm like, what? What did you say? That's I'm talking to Nathan. He's speaking English, and I don't know what he's talking about.
No.
So, what else did I want to bring up? Oh, you asked me about my guru seminar off camera.
Yes.
The next, it's funny. This one we just did June 9th here in Cape Coral was kind of mellow. It wasn't as many people as we usually get, and this is kind of a slow time of year right before summer. But I've been getting a million people asking me about when the next one is, and I'm not really sure. But I think I'm going to do it in El Paso, Texas. Believe it or not, at Mary Ellen Jerumbo's Backstreet Gym. She's been hawking me to do it out there, and I know I have a lot of people in Texas that want to take it, so I might hold it there at the end of October. I'm just working on a date with her. She wants me to hold it the last week, and I don't know. It's kind of close to nationals. I don't know. I don't want to lose people that might want to take it, and they're competing. So I got to discuss with her the exact date, but I'm thinking about doing it. I don't like to travel right anymore, but you know what? If it's enough people, I'll do it for the weekend. So we'll see. I will announce it though over the next week or two. We'll figure it out because I know people have to plan for these things and set up their weekend. I always pick the wrong date. The people always want to see it. I set the date and they're like, "Oh, I have a wedding that weekend." I'm like, 14 people are telling me the same thing. I'm like, and I went back and forth with the dates in my head. I don't know when people have weddings or this or that going on. It's not.
Well, there should be, by definition, weddings all the time, right?
That's right. I always pick the weekend that everyone's going away someplace. So I think October, no one's doing anything in October. It's kind of a mellow part of the year. So maybe that'll work out well. Usually the winter courses, I have way more people because people are kind of not dieting and their brains, because when you're eating zero carbs, or you're low carbs and you're doing 1,000,000 hours of cardio, it's not fun to sit through a 10-hour seminar. You can't really think that well. So a lot of people wait till they're done dieting, which is usually in the winter months. So.
Well, it's never winter where you are, so that don't matter.
I was just telling someone the other day that I'm always in a good mood. Who was I telling that to? I said, if you move here, you'll never be in a bad mood.
I know.
It's like instant antidepressant. It's like you walk outside and all of a sudden it's like you just took 3 Prozacs. You're like, oh, I feel great. I was depressed when I woke up this morning, but it's beautiful out. I feel great. It's winter. It's snowing in New York and it's 85 degrees here.
I know. Yeah, well, we got the Empire State Building. You don't have that down there.
That's right. I just got a friend of Amanda's was moving and he asked me if I wanted he has a chameleon, a veiled chameleon. I don't have any chameleon. I've never really had a pet chameleon at all. So he had the cage and everything like that, and he's like, if I really want to adopt it out, if you want it. If I went back and forth, I'm like, do I really need a chameleon? I'm like, all right, you know what, bring it over. What the hell, you know me. Anything exotic, I'll immerse myself in. So I got this chameleon now in my garage in a little cage.
Derek Farnsworth used to have one.
Did he?
I wonder if he still has it. Yeah, it's
they're kind of cool. They have these
beautiful.
they're very beautiful. They have these weird eyes. They go in all different directions. They're kind of cool. So I'm immersing myself in learning about chameleons, and I'm trying to get these sulcatic tortoises. That's my next thing I want to purchase because they get really big. They live like 150 years. These things, and they can get like a couple 100 pounds. They get huge, and you could in Florida they're great to have. In New York you can't keep those because you don't have any place to put them. But in Florida, when they get to a certain point, you can let them walk around your backyard. You just kind of fence them in a little bit and let them graze on the grass, and they're great. And no predators can do anything. You think about that shell; it's like a tank. It's like a Sherman tank. You can't get through that shell, so you can't have eagles and birds coming away and picking them up and trying to take them and kill them or anything like that. Even the alligators really can't eat turtles very well. So that's my newest pets. But it's hatching season, so I'm having a lot of new snakes hatching. A lot of people have been asking me. It's funny. It's amazing how many bodybuilders out there actually are into reptiles, because I had a lot of people contact me saying, "Oh, Dave, I want to get a snake from you," because they figure, well, I know Dave from bodybuilding, and I breed reptiles or I like reptiles. I might as well get a snake from Dave, which is funny because I get these bodybuilders contacting me and they're like, "Oh, I want to buy a snake," and I'm like educating them on reptiles now. It's a bizarre thing. It's like I found another life, that's outside of bodybuilding, but yet it's still connected in some way. Because bodybuilders they're very interested in extreme hobbies. You know what I mean? And reptile keeping is good because it's not illegal, number one, or at least mostly not illegal, and it's something to kind of obsess about without doing any damage to your relationships or anything else in life. It's kind of a productive way to kind of vent, some creative energy. I think that's what I always tell people, because you know what, you really need an outlet. Whether it's reading books or going to see movies. John Hanson likes to review movies. you can't just have bodybuilding. You have to have something else as well, that you can kind of pour your creative, juices into, so to speak, so that if, you get injured in the gym or something goes wrong, or, you're not having a good day in bodybuilding, whatever, you didn't have a good workout, at least you can go, I'll go watch a movie, or I'll go clean some snake tanks, or I'll go, clean my fish tank, or whatever your hobby happens to be. I'll go, refinish a piece of furniture in my house because that gives me pleasure. It's important that people have hobbies, I feel. What are your hobbies now, would you say? Real estate. You buy real estate.
Yeah,
so,
real estate.
That's your
I
hobby.
obsess about that. When I obsess about real estate, I know I think of you all the time, Dave, because I think, what I obsess about it, and then I often think of you reading every single letter, dot, and word of every muscle magazine back in the day.
Oh, I did. Multiple times. I would read the magazine so many times, and I've said this before, that I would actually run out of, I would read even the articles I didn't want to read, because you'd only get one magazine per month, right? You'd get one issue per month. So by the end, the last 2 weeks of the month, I would have read everything, so thoroughly that I had it memorized. So I would start reading the ads in the magazines, and I would start studying the ads and the products and what were in the products. I knew some of the products back in the 90s and early 2000s better than I probably know the products today, because there's no ads. I'm not reading ads today on these things. And it was crazy. It was a different time. You would lust for information. There was nowhere to get it, and you would buy anything and anything. You'd buy every magazine: Flex, Muscle and Fitness, MD, Iron Man.
Little did you know that to just write those articles just to sell magazines.
Yeah, Muscle Media 2000.
I mean, bogus. They'd shoot, so and so, Flex Wheel his chest routine, even though he doesn't even do that chest routine.
Yeah, I know.
So you're copying the stuff that he doesn't even do.
Do you remember that in Muscle Mag International they would do these 10-page training articles, and literally they would have all the pictures there, of course, which I didn't care about that much, but they would actually describe. I don't know who wrote these articles. I don't remember, but they would actually write how you do the article, how you do the movements. And a lot of them I couldn't visualize in my head how to do it, but they would explain how to pronate this and change this angle. And
Greg Zulak, probably.
Greg Zulak. Yeah, Greg Zulak.
Where's Greg Zulak? Put him on the show.
Scott Connolly hated Greg Zulak because he thought he was a phony. I don't know why. He was always nice to me, Greg. He thought Greg Zulak was like a charlatan.
Well, no, because Greg was the original Ron Harris.
Oh, he was? Oh, he wrote a million.
Well, yeah, because he worked for Bob Kennedy, and Bob would say, we have 300 pages of, ads coming out this month, so you have to write 300 articles,
right.
And you need them in by Friday, and Greg would go to bat and just write the stuff like a maniac.
I remember reading this it's clear as day because I probably read the article 400 times to try to get this figured out. Remember Zotman curls? You know what they are?
Yeah, it's when it looks like a hammer. No, it's a reverse curl on the decline bench press.
I couldn't figure out how to do it, but the description of it, Zotman curl.
Samir would know what a Zotman curl is.
He probably invented the Zotman curl.
No, he'd swear by it too, and it's what Samir would say. That's why these guys don't have a lot of detail on the arms anymore. They don't do the Zotman curl.
Now everyone's going to go out there and try to find out what a Zotman curl.
Google
I'm
it.
going to get.
Dave, are you on the computer? See if you can Google Zotman curl if something comes up. Yeah. Seriously.
I guarantee if I go to YouTube and put it in Zotman curl,
no, just go to Google and see if it comes up.
It's a lot of times I purposely pretend like I don't know, because I can always Google anything. But a lot of times I just think Zotman. It's such an interesting term that I don't even want to know what it is. It's like almost better that I don't know what it is.
Oh, look at the video comes right up. Zotman curl.
Zotman curl.
Yeah. On YouTube.
Yeah. How to do a Zotman curl. Yeah. Couple people.
Rich
Piana doing Zotman curls. There's a video.
See, by involving the.
You want to hear this? That video's got 939,000 views, almost a million views on the Zotman curl. He wrote Zotman curls, old school exercise for bicep brachialis and forearms. Rich Piana. How funny is that? Wow. Then someone's got Vince Garanda Zotman. I think Vince Garanda invented the Zotman curl, maybe.
What's the first thing you think of when you hear Vince Garanda? I always hated his physique.
A lot of a million abdominal exercises and lots of cream, right? Wasn't he into
cream, heavy? He was the
cream,
original
right?
keto guy.
And liver pills, right? He was a big believer in.
Yeah, but he'd do a 0-carb diet. You'd have 4 tablespoons of heavy cream, 3 tablespoons of this cream, 2 tablespoons of oil, and a chicken breast.
Yeah, he was a big keto guy back then. He didn't call it a ketogenic diet, but he was into that. He was into high fats. But it works. You build muscle from this stuff. It really does. There's a million YouTube videos on Zotman curls. I'm shocked. I bet you a lot of people have heard the term, didn't know what it was, though. There has to be 50 Zotman curl videos here.
See,
maybe I'll watch one of these. I got to learn how to do them.
Men's Health, how to do the Zotman curl. Find out. Google who is Zotman.
Yeah, there you go.
It's even better.
Maybe he's still alive. We can get him on the TV show. Probably like 150 years old.
Maybe he needs an apartment. I can house him or something.
He might be in one of your apartments for all you know.
He might be the guy calling in. Who knows?
Yeah, imagine he's like, oh, but Chris, I changed my name, 10 years ago. It used to be Zotman. Blackman's probably like, I taught him how to do the Zotman curl. He stole it from me. It should be the Blackman curl. Zotman curls. I bet you most of these videos don't even do them right. We got to get Samir to teach us how to do a Zotman curl. I got to film him. I got to send someone out there to film him doing a Zotman curl. You can't write this stuff. Material is great. All right, let me just go over who won what. They had that UK Pro Championships this past weekend with the men's physique division. It was won by Dawid Wachika from Switzerland. Adriano Moreno from Spain was second. And Maxime Parisi from France. So a very international field. And in the UK Pro Bikini division, it was won by Cristobal Pajares from Spain. Phoebe Hagen was second. And Francesca Lauren from the USA, she's the only girl I know in the lineup, was third. So congratulations to those guys. Oh, this is one of Bob Ciccarilla's events. They actually gave out 7 pro cards, too. I don't know who won the amateurs, though. I'm just looking at the pro stuff. They had the Greater Gulf States. Also this past weekend, they had another pro men's physique there. Roman Miranda won that. He'll be going to the Olympia, I guess. Although, that's not necessarily true. In these divisions where they have a lot of shows, it's all points. So if you don't have enough points, even if you win a pro show, you don't necessarily go to the Olympia. Tavi Jackson, who we had on Muscle in the Morning this past week, he placed second here. Great physique. And Callie Courtney. Callie Courtney from Houston, Texas was third. So congratulations to those guys. And in the bikini division, Marsha Gongalves, we talked about that earlier, won with Natasha Coleman second and Chi-Chi from Dallas, Texas in third. All right, so it was kind of quiet, but we did have some action. So now next week, we also had that Mexico show. They gave out a lot of pro cards. I have a friend of mine who was at that Mexico show this past weekend in Guadalajara, Mexico. I wonder if Romano was there. They had 1,000 people there in the show. Can you believe it?
Competitors?
Competitors.
Wow.
Yeah. It's crazy, right?
Well, Jerry Buendia was right.
Yeah. They have a lot of men's physique guys there, that's for sure. When I was there, when Amanda and I went to the Amateur Olympia, Latin America there, that took place in Acapulco a couple years ago. It was pretty packed. Also, I was shocked. They put on a really nice little setup there. They had a meal hall with food, like buffets. We were treated like royalty there. They had a great cast of people. We live streamed that event. You can go back and watch that thing. There was a lot of the guys that we showcased there went on to get pro cards and stuff like that later. That's the show where Ian Valliere won. He shocked everyone.
While
Came
back.
in from Canada. Yeah. He'll be doing that Vancouver pro show. He's looking really good. He's a
he
freak.
looks nuts. I saw a picture of him. He looks nuts.
Here's a guy who you watched his progress, and it's just, he reminds me almost of like a Justin Compton, the way he just...
Oh, totally.
Right?
Every year he bangs up 10 real pounds every year. Even when he won that Mexican show,
You look good. Yeah, I have to say that
he looked really good.
the talent pool coming out of Canada, Chris, is second to none. With the Bumsteads, and you got Regan, and you got Ian, and
it's real Canadians,
Dara,
unlike in Kuwait where it's no Kuwaitis. But go ahead.
Yeah, Muhammad Aldura, I just interviewed. He's great.
Yeah.
These guys are they're cranking out the pros there. I don't know what I believe in probably the next 5 years, these guys are gonna be ruling the divisions, don't you think?
Very possible.
Because they're all young. They're all in their 20s.
Yeah, very possible. Very possible.
They're all in their 20s. Poor Ron Partlow. He's got all these guys. Is he still competing, Ron?
I don't think he's competing.
No.
He's he's got a heavy duty job with Mutant.
Oh, okay. Good for him. Yeah, he's a good guy. I like him. He plays second more than anyone, I think, in the history of the sport.
7 times, I believe.
he certainly beat me out, that's for sure. He's got more endurance than I do. So we got a bunch. This coming weekend, I don't think much is happening, but I think the following weekend you're going to have a lot. They got that Vancouver Pro Show and a bunch of other stuff coming up. And then, of course, we're going to have the USA Championships, the Masters Nationals, the Team Universe will be next weekend as well, this coming weekend. So they're giving out like 49 pro cards or whatever it is, 4,000 pro cards. I'm helping a lot of these Masters guys. I'm actually getting. I really like helping these guys who are like. I have a guy by name of Larry Davis. He's like over 60, and I'm just like, man, I envy these guys at 60. They're still competing.
Yeah,
It's
amazing.
Man, you can do it. If I give someone a pro card, help someone get a pro card at 60 years old, that's like awesome. And if you remember back 10 years ago, there was like 3 guys in the 60 and over. Now they have like weight classes and stuff like that. It's like a full-fledged class,
It's crazy.
It's unbelievable how good these guys are. And now you're getting a lot of 70-year-olds competing. So Jeremy Buendia certainly didn't help that out. Those guys are still around from when we were competing, I don't know how they do it still. Like, you guys are better than me. I don't know how you have the endurance, and the injuries are at bay. I'm helping Lee Apperson. I'm sure you know. He's doing the 60 and over in the Pittsburgh
60
Pro.
years old. Wow.
Pittsburgh Pro Masters, and this guy's got more injuries. He's like the Bionic Man. He's had more. This Lee is so great. Lee is so hardcore that he actually drove like to California from Florida, got a surgery he got like a rotator cuff surgery in Atlanta first, and then he got in the car like a day or two later and drove himself to California and got another surgery, and then drove back from California to Florida himself with the 2 injuries. He figures, well, I have downtime, I might as well just drive. What's the difference? I can't go to the gym. I'm like, you're insane. I said, I said, but then again, who the hell could beat you? Because no one has your level of dedication. I said, at 60 years old. Unbelievable. So
he had a lot of Iron Man covers.
Yeah,
they loved him at Iron Man.
He still looks great. He's got a full head of hair. The guy's a good-looking guy. Yeah, he's very photogenic, and he's
like the original Michael Hearn.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
A lot of covers and stuff, and a lot of notoriety.
Yeah, for a guy who really wasn't, a top echelon bodybuilder, he made money for himself in this industry. He really did. He knew he took advantage of that, and he was probably did more photo shoots and cover shots than almost just about anyone out there. So yeah, these guys just won't stop. It's good. It's good. I like better them than me. That's all I always say. I don't have the patience for it anymore.
No, you don't have the time either.
Yeah. I got it out of my. I do things right. I get it out of my system. I do it 100% of the way. You're like that too, though.
Yeah.
You do it. 100%.
I got to be all or none.
When you can't do it at that level anymore. You're done. That's it.
Yeah.
Move on to something else. Something that doesn't require quite as much physical dedication. I'll use more mental dedication. Although, I read an article recently that if you don't sleep, it affects your ability to store memories. So, I'm thinking I'm going crazy because I'm losing my memory. I can't remember anything anymore. But then I'm like, you know what? I'm only sleeping 4 or 5 hours a night. I'm used to sleeping 8-9 hours a night.
I still got my sign up. practice working on your memory.
But I think maybe that's it. We can't, because when you sleep, that's when you solidify memories. I remember that from school, you know. And then I read this article and it kind of rekindled. I'm like, you know what? I'm experiencing these memories, but I can't solidify them. I can't store them.
You know what's funny? You know what's it's not funny. You know, it just ties right into that. As my father was an insomniac.
Oh, he was. Interesting.
Oh, and he's got all dementia.
Right.
But at no time in my life can I ever remember, like I'd get up from like 12 years old living in the house to 18 or 19 years old. Anytime I'd get up to go to the bathroom, any hour of the night,
he'd be up.
He'd be up.
That's crazy. Well, my father was a napper. You know, he didn't sleep that much at night because he had to get up for school and teach, but he always came home and took naps, and then he would work till late at night, which is pretty much what my schedule now. We all become our fathers, unfortunately. I hope you and I don't lose our minds, though. That's I pray for that every night. Well, Chris, that seems to be all we got for this week. We did the show a little earlier than normal because what are you doing tomorrow anyway? You said you had stuff to do?
Well, my two sons, who just got back from a 1-week camp out in the woods, they went camping.
Right.
Like one of these camps where you go fish, hike, and that type of thing.
Right. That's fun.
On Monday, one starts an acting camp, and the other one starts a sailing camp.
Oh, that's
And so it starts early on Monday morning. So I figured I have to have them there at like 7. So I usually, if we do the radio show on Sunday night, then that handicaps me from getting up like at 5:30 to wake them up and take them off.
Well, I got news for you. The sailing camp is very dangerous because, you know, that one's going to come home and want you to buy him a boat now.
I know.
Dad, let's get a boat. And, you know, the happiest time of buying a boat, of having a boat and boat owners is the day you buy it, the day you sell it. So
yeah, you will. I saw that sign in the marina, and I remember so specifically asking the marina owner when I had my. I said, "What's that mean?" He said, "Oh, you'll figure it out." And I said, "No, tell me what that means." He said, "You can't tell anyone what it means. You'll figure it out."
Because you're so excited to get the boat, and then when you realize all the responsibility, and then you sell it, you're like,
the responsibility means cost.
They break it's always breaking.
Everything. When it's on the ocean, it's like, I just fixed that.
Right. Everything. Saltwater kills, destroys everything.
Everything breaks all the time, and everything is $1,000.
Yeah. I noticed that. I know.
When I first, Dave, listen to this. So I told you about buying the boat at City Island at Bob Gruskin's.
Yeah.
And I think we talked about that on the show a few weeks ago. And I had, like, the toilet wouldn't flush. Like, you know, I stayed on the boat 2 nights. Day 3, the toilet wouldn't flush and the light wouldn't come on. Huh. So I go to the people who I bought it from. Imagine I just bought this boat from them. And I said, my toilet, can you help me in my toilet? So they fix it, and they hand me the bill. I figured, you know, they'd fix it. I just bought it from them, right?
Right.
The bill was like $800.
Oh, my God. And that was a foreshadowing what was to come, basically. Those engines, forget about it. The props bend if they hit something and they hit the ground. You got to get the props taken out and straightened. And I had 2 sets of props that I used to flip. I was always constantly hitting something with the props because on Long Island it's shallow. If you don't stay within these little stupid pylons, you hit the ground and the props bend.
Yeah, well, that's like Maine, too. You know, we get 12-foot tides, 14-foot tides.
It's crazy. All right, Chris, enjoy your day with the kids, and I will as well. We went to see my dad today. He was completely out of it. He was like you would think he was drugged. Which
he might have been
drugged. He might, like, pneumonia is like going around the assisted living place. So like we were like walking around. We washed our hands.
The flu season over there. It's like insane.
We washed our hands 400 times in that place because we were afraid we were going to contract it in some capacity. Because these people they don't move around enough, so these disease just kind of settles in on them, And older people, they die from pneumonia. So it's not no joke. My father's forever on antibiotics over there. Seems like, at least. I have to take him to the he broke his 2 fingers. I told you he fell a couple weeks ago. And I have to bring him to the orthopedic surgeon. So I have to pick him up. I They're going to have to get him in my car, and then I have to get him over to the orthopedic. They're going to have to get him out of the car. I think he's probably going to see the orthopedic for 3 minutes, and then I got to get him back to the assisted living. That should take like 5 hours. Because
I was just going to say that is a full day.
I know. And my dad, the last time I took him to the urologist, it was a horror show. I think I told that story about how he was calling people fat in the waiting room, and he was talking to people like saying, "Oh, you really got to work on losing some weight." He was obsessed with like fat people. I don't know what it is, and he's always telling people they're horrendous. Get a look at that one, and he's screaming it, and it's mortifying to be with him. It's completely. It's when you have your little son doing that kind of stuff, it's like cute. When you have your 90-year-old father doing it, people get offended. I don't know why, but they do. And so I'm not looking forward to Tuesday at all. I'm sure if I should bring my video guy with me to videotape the whole thing, because I'm mortified by it, but probably everyone else will find it.
Oh yeah, be entertaining to other people. Unfortunately.
Yeah. All right, Chris, that's it. Till next week. Remember, with Heavy Muscle Radio,
the truth hurts.
Good night, everyone.